Welcome to the Tiny House Ideas podcast. What started TinyFest then? How many years has it been running, and what's been going on at the festival?
Well, I started with TinyFest Midwest in 2017. And I had gotten a tiny house myself, a little teeny tiny 87 square foot tiny house on wheels I pulled behind my
God, that is tiny.
Yeah. And I lived there for over 4 years, like almost 4.5 years. But yeah, it's amazing what can work for you when you want it, you know? So anyway, I took my tiny house to a festival, the National Tiny House Jamboree, and I actually sold T-shirts there. I'm kind of a little entrepreneur type, you know? So rather than just going and walking around, I went and paid for my way with these T-shirts, and I had so much fun doing it.
Amazing.
So anyway, I went to a few other festivals and sold my T-shirts. They say tiny on. So, you know, like rock on, but tiny on.
Exactly. Carry on. Yeah. Tiny on. Love it.
Yeah. So anyway, after going to a few of them, I said, we need this in the Midwest because it seemed like the festivals were down in the Southeast United States. There were some in Colorado, but definitely not in the Midwest where I'm from, Iowa. And people just didn't understand why someone would live in a small house. As a matter of fact, I'd like to tell people this little story. When I first got my tiny house, and I would tell people, you know, that, I live in a tiny house. I got so often over and over, oh, it's okay, honey. You know, like poor little thing. It's okay, honey. You'll get a bigger one someday. And I'm thinking, no, you don't get it.
You're missing the point. Yeah.
I did this on purpose. So, it was great. Have the festival there in the Midwest.
Yeah.
At that time, the houses were becoming more and more popular with like Tiny House Nation and a few shows. So people started to know. And one of the benefits, which is still a great benefit at the festivals, is that you get like-minded people together.
Exactly.
So when you have an idea like tiny houses that's not, you know, very mainstream, you kind of feel like, you know, an outsider, you're the only one, or, you know, maybe you're weird for thinking this way, right? And when you get to meet other people that think the same way, it's so refreshing and so nice that you can have these great conversations and you feel supported, and you don't have to explain yourself or why not an RV, or what would you want to do that for? And, you know, you just get to have the good conversation, jump right to the good stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah. So that was really fun at the first event. So many other people had said the same thing. And shortly after that, the tiny houses became so popular that I went from being a, you know, poor, pathetic thing that maybe could get a bigger house someday to, I always say, a rock star. I felt like a rock star. My friends would say, oh, this is my friend Renee. She lives in a tiny house. And they go, oh, really? Like those ones you see on TV? That's so cool. And I'm thinking, now I'm cool. Last year I was pathetic, but now I'm cool.
Amazing. That
stuff's not important, but it is kind of a fun to see the shift in
it helps
shift in acceptance and understanding. So
exactly that's the thing. I think it was huge what you mentioned there about sort of being around like-minded people, and it being an event where, because obviously the tiny house community online and in person is just huge, and there's so many like-minded people that can sort of all come together, I guess, into one place, all meet each other, have a look around tiny houses, have conversations, listen to music, and do loads of other fun stuff. So it's amazing. Thanks for watching this little teaser for the Tiny House Ideas podcast. If you'd like to listen to the full episode, it's available on all major streaming platforms. So that's Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and all of the others. Alternatively, if you'd rather watch it sort of in a video format like this video has been, then that's available on Patreon. Just search for Tiny House Ideas. So thanks again for watching. Please do check out the full episode, and thanks again.